On a chilly December night in 2013, Brianna Warland's peaceful slumber was shattered by the shrill ring of her phone. At precisely 1:45 a.m., a call, unexpected and unsettling, jolted her awake. On the other end was Heather, her closest friend, her voice quivering with sobs. Heather poured out a tale of a recent tumultuous conversation with Sydney, her former lover. Sydney had called, his voice laced with regret, revealing a split from his wife and a longing to rekindle what he once had with Heather. Brianna listened intently, a blend of curiosity and concern coloring her tone. Why had Heather even entertained this call, especially from an unknown number? The answer was simple yet loaded with implications. Curiosity had prompted Heather to pick up. As Brianna consoled her friend, insisting that Heather had finally moved past the emotional turmoil of their breakup, she urged her not to plunge back into the troubled waters with Sydney. Their conversation ended with a promise to return to sleep, a promise to forget the late-night disturbance. But little did they know, this was just the beginning of a mystery that would soon grip the picturesque Horry County in South Carolina. Horry County, known for its idyllic beaches like the famed Myrtle Beach, its sprawling forests and rivers, and its quaint, friendly towns, was about to become the backdrop for a chilling disappearance. On December 19th, the tranquility of this haven was pierced by the discovery of an eerie scene at Peachtree Landing, an isolated spot along the Waccamaw River. Here, a green Dodge Intrepid sat abandoned, its presence an ominous intrusion in the serene landscape. This area, primarily used as a dock for small boats, lay at the end of a long, rarely traveled road. It was the last place one would expect to find a car like this. The car, registered to Terry Elvis, led the police to his doorstep. Terry, comfortably settled in his living room, was blindsided by the news of his daughter Heather's car found in such a remote location. His mind raced with questions as he tried to reach Heather, only to be met with the hollow sound of unanswered calls. With a growing sense of dread, Terry accompanied the police to the landing, hoping for some logical explanation. But the sight of Heather's car, so out of place in this secluded area, sparked a fear that something more sinister was at play. A meticulous search of the vehicle revealed a startling absence of personal items. No purse, keys, or phone. Terry's worry escalated into panic. After learning from Heather's workplace that she hadn't shown up for her shift and wasn't due until the next day, Terry's worst fears began to take shape. Heather's disappearance was unlike her. It was out of character, and Terry knew deep down that something was terribly wrong. The area, though not immediately considered a crime scene due to the lack of any visible signs of struggle, became the focal point of a missing person investigation. The search extended from land to water, with volunteers scouring the landscape and divers delving into the riverbed. During this search, human remains were discovered in the forest, but they were not Heather's. They belonged to an unknown man, deepening the mystery further. Investigators delved into Heather's background. The 20-year-old, daughter of Terry and Debbie Elvis, was cherished in her family. Known for her close relationship with her parents and younger sister, Heather's independence never distanced her from them. A 2011 graduate of St. James High School, Heather had recently moved in with Brianna in Myrtle Beach, supported wholeheartedly by her family. She worked as a waitress at the Tilted Kilt and nurtured aspirations of becoming a cosmetologist. Heather's life was a blend of ambition, creativity, and social charm. She was known for her carefree spirit and positive nature, traits that endeared her to many in her town. However, life took an unexpected turn when Heather crossed paths with Sydney Moer, a 37-year-old father and handyman at the Tilted Kilt. What began as casual encounters soon blossomed into an attraction, despite Sydney being a married man. Their relationship, a mixture of secret meetings and public appearances, was an open secret among Heather's friends and co-workers. Despite disapproval and rumors, their affair deepened, culminating in shared plans and dreams. But beneath the surface of this seemingly passionate relationship lay a toxicity that was slowly unraveling Heather's life. Sydney, who often spoke of leaving his wife, seemed to be leading Heather on with empty promises. Their relationship, marked by secrecy and rendezvous in secluded spots, was a roller coaster of emotions for Heather. But the reality was far from the romantic illusion. Sydney's assurances were hollow, and the relationship was doing more harm than good to Heather. The town, while aware of their affair, could not fathom the depth of its impact on Heather's life. Little did anyone know, this affair was setting Heather on a path toward an unforeseen and tragic fate. The complexities of Heather's relationship with Sydney, a web of deceit and manipulation, began to unravel as the summer of 2013 turned to autumn. Heather's friends, witnessing the toll the affair was taking, warned her about Sydney's intentions. By mid-September, Heather seemed to awaken to the troubling reality of her situation. On September 21st, she shared a cryptic tweet about an angel and a demon's doomed love, hinting at her internal struggle with the affair. The turning point in this twisted narrative came when Tammy, Sydney's wife of 34 years, discovered the affair. The revelation set off a chain of events that would forever alter Heather's life. Tammy's wrath was unleashed in a scathing phone call witnessed by Brianna, where she berated and humiliated Heather. Sydney, under Tammy's influence, echoed his wife's demeaning words, shattering Heather's heart and spirit. This confrontation marked a dark shift in the dynamics, as prosecutor Chris Helms later noted, revealing Tammy's domineering control over Sydney, dictating his actions and movements. Tammy's reaction to the betrayal was extreme and alarming. She resorted to handcuffing Sydney at night, changing his phone password, and even compelled him to get a tattoo of her name, all in a desperate bid to salvage their marriage. Meanwhile, Heather, emotionally shattered, struggled to rebuild her life, seeking solace in church and the support of friends. The harassment from Tammy escalated beyond the boundaries of decency. She bombarded Heather's workplace with calls, demanding her termination, and inundated Heather with distressing messages and intimate images of her with Sydney. Heather, in a poignant letter, pleaded with Sydney to intervene and stop Tammy's relentless harassment, which was jeopardizing her job and mental well-being. As autumn deepened into winter, Heather faced an additional personal crisis. Her sudden weight gain sparked fears of pregnancy, possibly Sydney's child. The anxiety of this possibility and the potential repercussions from Tammy were overwhelming. Despite a faulty pregnancy test, the uncertainty lingered, adding another layer of stress to Heather's already fraught existence. In early November, with Sydney and Tammy away on a family trip, Heather experienced a brief respite from the turmoil. During this period, she achieved a significant personal milestone, securing her dream job as a makeup artist at a beauty salon. Her future, momentarily, seemed bright. However, the shadow of her past loomed large. In early November, Heather's co-workers at the Tilted Kilt noticed her abrupt weight gain, fueling speculations of a possible pregnancy with Sydney's child. Heather, fraught with anxiety, took a pregnancy test at the restaurant. Her manager, Jessica Cook, later recounted to the police how Heather was gripped by fear, particularly of Tammy's potential reaction. The test, however, was inconclusive, leaving Heather in a state of uncertainty. Amidst these turbulent times, Heather chose optimism and forward momentum. She decided to seek a new beginning, venturing into a potential romantic relationship with Steve Gerald, a man she had known briefly but felt a genuine attraction towards. Their first date on December 17th was a simple yet joyous affair, driving around Myrtle Beach, admiring Christmas lights, and learning to drive Steve's manual transmission car. The evening concluded with plans for a second date, a glimmer of hope in Heather's troubled life. Detectives, grappling with the complexities of the case, shifted their focus to establishing a detailed timeline of events leading up to Heather's disappearance. Initial suspicions fell on Steve Gerald, Heather's companion on the evening prior to her disappearance. However, after thorough questioning, no evidence linked him to her vanishing, and the suspicions were dismissed. Meanwhile, the community rallied around Heather's family, offering support and a reward for any information leading to her whereabouts. In stark contrast, Tammy's behavior on social media, where she continued to malign Heather, sparked public outrage and drew the attention of investigators. On December 20th, following revelations about the affair between Sydney and Heather, detectives brought Sydney in for questioning. Throughout the interrogation, Sydney remained evasive and reserved, denying any involvement with Heather around the time of her disappearance. However, detectives suspected deception and turned to Heather's call history and phone records for clues. The breakthrough came when they reconstructed Heather's movements on the day she vanished. They discovered a mysterious call from an unknown number, which Heather had tried to return multiple times. The call originated from a payphone near a gas station in Myrtle Beach. Surveillance footage captured an unidentified male using the phone booth at the time of the call. Presented with this evidence, Sydney initially denied involvement, but eventually admitted to calling Heather, claiming he wanted her to leave him alone. Tammy, when questioned, spoke of her tumultuous marriage and Heather's influence, but vehemently denied any role in her disappearance. She disparaged Heather's lifestyle, painting a negative portrait of the young woman. The investigation, deepening with each revelation, was slowly unraveling a tangled web of lies, betrayal, and secret lives. In the wake of Tammy's vehement assertions that Heather's behavior, rather than mere infidelity, was at the core of the problem, detectives intensified their investigation, scouring neighborhood security cameras for clues. Their diligence paid off when they discovered footage of Sydney purchasing a pregnancy test from a local supermarket, claiming it was for his wife. This revelation, coupled with further evidence, propelled the investigation into a critical phase. Compelling footage from cameras along a secluded road to Peachtree Landing emerged, showing a Ford F-150, strikingly similar to Sydney's vehicle, arriving at the spot where Heather's car was later found. Recorded at 3:36 a.m., the vehicle was seen leaving the area a mere 10 minutes later. Experts confirmed the SUV belonged to Sydney, making him the last person known to have seen Heather at that location. Using Heather's phone records, investigators meticulously pieced together her movements on the fateful night. At 2:30 a.m., she unsuccessfully attempted to call the payphone number Sydney used. She then briefly visited Longbeard's Bar and Grill before returning to her apartment. A crucial call from Sydney's phone to Heather's at 3:25 a.m. marked their last known communication. By 3:42 a.m., Heather's phone was disconnected, ceasing all communication and leaving a chilling silence in its wake. The surveillance footage of Sydney's vehicle became a pivotal piece of evidence. However, even more damning was what investigators found during a warranted search of the Moer home. The Moers had suspiciously replaced their home surveillance system on December 20th. The new system's footage revealed Sydney and Tammy meticulously cleaning their car's interior and burning the cleaning rags, actions that raised serious suspicions. In February 2014, months after Heather's disappearance, a major breakthrough occurred. Sydney and Tammy Moer were arrested on charges of kidnapping Heather, and later, charges of murder were added, despite Heather's body never being found. The Moers remained silent in jail, refusing to testify, which complicated the case due to the lack of Heather's body to substantiate the murder charges. Eventually, the murder charges were dropped, but the kidnapping charge persisted. Heather's mother, Debbie, expressed a mix of disappointment and relief at the development. She dreaded the thought of enduring a trial that would delve into the harrowing details of her daughter's presumed fate. The family hoped that dropping the murder charges might encourage witnesses to come forward with crucial information. The saga continued as Sydney Moer was found guilty of obstructing justice in 2017 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. The subsequent trial for the kidnapping of Heather Elvis garnered immense public interest and extensive media coverage. In 2019, 6 years after Heather's disappearance, the trial unfolded with numerous witness testimonies and evidence presented. After 2 hours of deliberation, the jury delivered their verdict. Sydney and Tammy Moer were found guilty of kidnapping Heather Elvis and sentenced to 30 years each. Following the verdict, Sydney, despite his conviction, continued to assert his innocence. Addressing Heather's parents in court, he expressed regret for the tragedy that had befallen Heather, acknowledging her as a wonderful person. Heather's parents, in a poignant interview, expressed their enduring hope for the truth to emerge and described their daughter as a bright and sincere individual who had tragically fallen prey to the deceitful and cruel Moers. On Heather's birthday, her loved ones organized a campaign at the public park where her car was discovered, turning grief into action. The community brought flowers and donations to the memorial site, with funds raised supporting a center for missing persons. This act served as a tribute to Heather and a means to aid her family in their ongoing quest for answers. To this day, the whereabouts of Heather Elvis remain a mystery, her body unfound. Her family continues to keep her memory alive, posting missing person announcements annually on her birthday. Debbie, Heather's mother, remains steadfast in her pursuit of the truth, holding on to hope that persistence will eventually reveal what truly happened to her daughter. The quest for answers lingers, a poignant reminder of the unresolved mysteries that haunt families of the missing and the enduring impact of such tragedies on communities and loved ones.
Thanks for exploring the chilling world of true crime with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell button for more mysteries and criminal insights. Stay alert, stay curious, and keep unraveling the mysteries. Until next time, take care.